Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, we're going to be talking about the UAE.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. And you know how everybody's interested in learning more about that area?
Of course.
So we thought we would do a deep dive into their food delivery apps.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And our main source for this is going to be Manuvial's Restaurant Success blog,
Okay.
which came out this year, 2024.
Very recent.
Yeah, so it's pretty up to date. And they have a really great report on kind of the whole scene.
Nice.
So, yeah, get ready for a deep dive into, this fast-paced, tech-driven world
Absolutely love it.
where, it's super convenient and shawarma is just like
Oh, is it really?
one tap away.
Oh, wow. Well, I think the UAE is really a perfect place for those apps to flourish.
I was just going to say that.
They have such a tech-savvy mobile population.
Right.
Everybody's used to instant gratification over there.
Yeah.
And then you add in that diverse culinary landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, don't forget the lasting effects of the pandemic that really pushed people towards ordering online anyway.
Absolutely.
So you put it all together, and you have a recipe for explosive growth in that sector.
Yeah, it's really kind of amazing how much those apps are just part of daily life there.
Totally.
But you're right, it's way more than just convenience for us,
Yeah.
the consumer, right? It's a lifeline for these restaurants, too.
For sure. I mean, for a lot of restaurants, especially in such a competitive market like the UAE, these apps, they're essential for survival.
Yeah, and we see that play out in Manuvial's report.
Okay.
They break down the big players in the UAE: Talabat, Deliveroo, Zomato, Careem Now, and Noon Food.
Wow, there's so many.
It's like a whole food delivery battle royale.
I know.
Each one has its own little strategy to win over the restaurants and the users.
Well, that's so interesting. So they each have a little niche.
Yeah.
Like Talabat, for example. I think they're the biggest.
Okay.
They have the largest network of restaurants.
So they're like the
What would you say?
Amazon of food delivery in the UAE.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
But even with that, they can't just sit back,
Well, of course not.
They have others like Deliveroo that are,
Come in for them.
yeah, challenging them and trying to have a more premium experience.
I see.
So I guess if you want a gourmet burger from some, fancy restaurant downtown,
Yeah.
you're probably going to go to Deliveroo.
Yeah, probably. They're known for speed and being reliable and having those partnerships with those higher end places who are willing to pay that premium to be at the top of the list.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's not just about the price and the convenience, but also the branding and the whole experience.
Yeah.
Then there's Zomato, who are trying to be more than just a delivery service.
Oh, right. Yeah, they want to be a whole discovery platform.
Yeah.
They do reviews, ratings, curated lists, all that.
It's like you could book a table through them, too.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they really try to capture the whole journey.
Yeah.
From figuring out what you want to eat to paying for it at the end.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious. And they also, they're pretty smart.
Okay.
They've tapped into Google search.
Oh, how so?
So when you're looking for a restaurant, they're often the top result.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. Speaking of clever, Careem, now they didn't even start with food.
Oh, right.
They were a ride-hailing app, like Uber.
That's wild. So how did they get into food?
Yeah, so that's what's interesting. They just used all their users and then added food delivery right in.
I see.
So imagine you're finishing a meeting.
Yeah.
You order on Careem Now, and then the same driver takes you home.
That's so convenient.
Super convenient.
Wow.
And then finally, we have the newcomer, Noon Food,
Okay.
and they're backed by the e-commerce giant, Noon.
So they're coming in strong.
Yeah, so it's do they have what it takes to shake up this whole market?
Right.
Well, they do have Noon's massive customer base and all their money.
Yeah.
They're starting with competitive delivery times and a lot of discounts to get people to try them.
So they have a chance.
Yeah, so far we've made it seem like everything's great with on-demand food.
Yeah.
But it's not all sunshine and shawarma.
What do you mean?
Manuvial's report talks about some hidden costs of all this convenience.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's not as simple as it looks, right?
Yeah, I guess not. It seems like magic to have food just show up. But I'm sure there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Totally.
And not everybody benefits.
Right.
What about the restaurants?
Yeah, that's a good point. What are some of the things that we don't see?
Yeah.
Behind that nice app?
Well, the first thing is the commissions they have to pay.
Oh, right.
Can be pretty high.
Yeah.
15% to 35% per order.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, it depends on the app and the service.
Oh.
But still, that's a big chunk of their money.
Right.
It's a lot to handle.
It really is. And it's not just the commissions either.
Right.
They also have, like, marketing costs.
To stand out.
To stand out, yeah, on the app, and then the cost of packaging.
To make it, delivery friendly.
Exactly.
And then they have to do all those discounts and promotions.
To even get people to order from them.
So it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like, are we the consumers? Are we getting this convenience at the expense of these restaurants?
That's a good question. Is it sustainable? I mean, if the restaurants are struggling while the platforms are, making all this profit.
Yeah. It feels like something needs to change.
Definitely. So what can they do?
Yeah. Is there anything they can do?
There are some steps, like they have to really think about their menu and their prices, figure out what travels well.
You mean like get rid of those things that don't travel well? Yeah. Like a fancy souffle, that's not going to work.
Probably not, no.
But like a curry? That'll be fun.
Exactly. You got to focus on dishes that have a higher profit margin.
Right.
And, that can survive the trip.
Yeah, so it's all about working smarter, not harder, I guess.
Yes.
But what about us?
Eaters.
Yeah, the hungry people at home, what can we do?
Oh, you have a lot of power, actually.
Really?
Yeah. The first thing is, see if the restaurant has its own website.
Okay.
Order from there, you'll often find better prices.
Cut out the middleman.
Exactly. And it helps the restaurant keep more of their money.
I like that. Okay, what else?
Well, shop around.
So compare prices, different apps, different times.
Yeah. You might be surprised, one might be a lot cheaper than the other.
Interesting. Okay.
And finally, try to support the little guy.
You mean the local places?
Yes. Choose them over the big chains. They need the help.
That's a good point. It's nice to know that we actually have, an impact.
We do.
Yeah, this brings us to another interesting thing.
What's that?
Manuvial mentions ghost kitchens.
Ooh, yes.
What are those?
Okay, so ghost kitchens, they're kind of mysterious.
Yeah, a little spooky, like the name.
They're basically restaurants that don't have a storefront. No tables, no waiters, just a kitchen.
That's just for delivery.
Only for delivery.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I know. So you could be ordering your pad thai from a place that doesn't even, exist.
That's so weird.
It is, but it's becoming more popular.
I guess it makes sense.
Especially in the UAE, they're very efficient.
So it's good for them.
Yeah, they can reach more people.
And try new things.
Exactly, without all the cost of a normal restaurant.
It does seem like a win-win.
It does.
But what happens to, going out to eat?
Yeah. Will we all just be at home ordering in?
From our ghost kitchens.
It's hard to say. Some people think traditional restaurants will have to, evolve.
So they become more about the experience.
Yes. Maybe they'll be more entertainment.
Like you go there for a special event.
Yeah, or for the chef.
To watch them cook.
Right, or the atmosphere.
Yeah, like you're paying for the whole thing.
For the show.
Right, but what about just, everyday eating?
That's a good question. What happens to those casual meals?
With friends or family?
Maybe they move online?
Oh, those virtual dinner parties.
Yeah, or online cooking classes.
That's a thing.
It is. So maybe the future is sharing virtual spaces.
So we're all together online.
Yeah, and we're eating food from our own ghost kitchens.
Wow, that's next level.
I know. Imagine you put on your VR headset and you're transported to Italy.
Or Japan.
Right. But you're in your pajamas at home.
This is getting pretty sci-fi.
It is. And it could be even more than visuals.
Okay.
Imagine they have scent technology.
What?
Yeah, your room smells like fresh bread.
Or garlic?
Now I'm hungry.
Me too. But this is really interesting. This is a whole new way to think about food.
That is. It's all changing.
And it's because of technology and convenience and how we think about food.
You got it.
And the UAE is right at the front of it.
They really are. They're perfect for it.
Yeah, this has been a really fascinating deep dive.
It has.
We started with something pretty simple.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about the future of food.
The big questions.
It's almost philosophical.
I know.
But with shawarma.
That's what makes it so interesting,
Yeah.
It's not just the technology. It's culture and society.
So for our listener.
Yeah.
Who's probably, holding their phone right now.
About to order something.
Yeah. What's the takeaway here?
I think it's awareness. Be aware of what you're doing.
Okay.
And how it affects restaurants.
Yeah.
And think about, convenience versus experience.
So it's not just about being hungry.
Right. You're actually shaping the future of how we eat.
Wow.
With every tap and swipe.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is. It's a responsibility.
Before we wrap up,
yeah,
I want to go back to those ghost kitchens for a second. They're just like so interesting to me.
I know, right?
It feels like they're a bigger deal than just,
just kitchens.
Yeah, like a bigger change in how we think about food.
I see what you mean. They're like
a symbol.
Yeah, like a symbol of this whole digital disruption thing that's happening everywhere.
Right, like in every industry.
Exactly. It's all about like cutting out the extra stuff.
The fluff.
Yeah, and just focusing on the main thing.
Which is the food.
Exactly. You're not paying for the fancy decoration.
The waiters.
Right. Just the food itself.
So does that mean like restaurants as we know them? Are they like going away?
It's possible. Maybe those fancy places,
With the white tablecloth?
Yeah, maybe they'll become more like special.
You only go for like a big celebration.
Yeah, or like an anniversary.
Like a museum almost.
Oh, I like that.
You're paying to see how people used to eat.
Yeah, and a waiter brings you food.
It's like a performance. But then what about like just grabbing dinner with friends?
Yeah, the everyday stuff.
Does that just become like online?
Maybe. We're already doing virtual dinner parties.
And those cooking classes.
Right, so maybe we'll all just be in these like virtual restaurants.
Together, but separate.
Yeah, each of us at home.
Eating from our ghost kitchens.
Oh, exactly. Could you imagine?
It's like a whole new level of virtual reality.
I know, you could be in an Italian restaurant.
Or a ramen shop.
But in your pajamas.
This is wild.
And maybe they'll even add smells.
That smells.
Yeah, like technology that makes your room smell like the food.
So I'm in my pajamas in a virtual ramen shop.
Yes.
And it smells like ramen.
Exactly.
Okay, now I'm really hungry.
Me too, but it's exciting.
It is. It's like a whole new world of food.
We're just at the beginning.
And it's all happening because of like everything we've been talking about.
Technology, convenience, how we think about food.
And the UAE is like leading the way.
Yeah, they're the perfect place for all this to happen.
This has been a really, really interesting deep dive.
I agree.
I feel like we learned a lot.
Me too.
We went from like a simple app
to the future.
To like the future of everything.
It's all connected.
So for everyone listening, next time you open that food delivery app,
think about it.
Yeah, think about what you're actually doing.
It's more than just food.
You're part of this whole change.
Every choice you make matters.
So choose wisely, eat well.
Stay curious.
And we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
Bye, everyone.